There is a power in this world that cannot be touched, cannot be bought, and cannot be taken away. It is the quiet majesty of a mind at peace with itself. It is not loud, and it does not boast. It walks through storms untouched. It stands amid chaos unmoved, and it creates by deliberate intention the destiny it has chosen. This power, my friend, is inner peace, mastered through discipline, the stillness of mind that commands the universe because it first commands itself. Every man who has ever achieved greatness, every woman who has transcended circumstance has learned this, that nothing can shake you when you have conquered your own reactions. The world may tremble, but the master within remains still. The average man is a slave to his emotions. He wakes up each morning not as a commander, but as a captive. His thoughts are the playthings of circumstance. His moods are determined by the weather, by the opinions of others, by events that lie beyond his control. He reacts, always reacts, like a ship tossed upon the waves without a rudder, and because he reacts, he never acts. He is forever in bondage to the outer world, while the man of discipline is governed from within. You must decide this very hour which of these men you intend to be. Either you will control your mind, or your mind will control you. There is no middle ground. As Hill once said, you are the master of your fate because you are the master of your thoughts. But to master thought, you must first master emotion, for emotion is thought set on fire. Emotional detachment is not the absence of feeling. It is the triumph of reason over reaction. It is the choice to respond with purpose rather than impulse. The weak man believes detachment means indifference. The wise man knows it means power. When you detach yourself from the opinions of others, you become free to hear the voice of your own definiteness of purpose. When you detach from momentary pleasure, you become capable of long-term achievement. When you detach from the chaos of the world, you begin to see with the eyes of wisdom. Detachment is not withdrawal, it is command. It is not passivity, it is the highest form of strength, because it allows you to act from principle, not pressure. Imagine the mind as a great engine. Its gears are thought, its fuel emotion, its direction determined by your definiteness of purpose. But if the fuel is uncontrolled, if the gears grind in confusion, the machine destroys itself. So it is with man. Uncontrolled emotion is like unrefined energy. It burns wildly, consuming its owner. Controlled emotion, directed through the lens of purpose, becomes power. Discipline, therefore, is the method by which you channel this force. It is the governor of energy, the steady hand on the wheel of thought. Without it, success is a fleeting dream. With it, success becomes inevitable. You must understand that every failure in life can be traced to one weakness of mind, the inability to govern one's own reactions. A man is insulted, and he throws away an opportunity in a fit of anger. Another loses his fortune because he cannot resist indulgence. Another sabotages his own progress by surrendering to doubt. The greatest battles are never fought on fields of war. They are fought in the silent chambers of the mind. Every man who rises above mediocrity must conquer the inner enemy, fear, doubt, anger, resentment, self-pity, and the ceaseless craving for validation. To be moved by every external force is to remain forever powerless. The man who controls his inner weather controls his outer world. He who governs himself governs fate. Let us call this the law of inner dominion, that your outer world is always a reflection of your inner order. As within, so without. The moment you permit the mind to be disturbed, the outer world responds in kind. Confusion within manifests as confusion without. Peace within manifests as prosperity without. For all things, seen and unseen, are but the shadows cast by thought. The universe itself is obedient to the one who is obedient to himself. The man who keeps his mind calm in the midst of adversity sends forth a vibration of confidence that commands respect, attracts opportunity, and dissolves opposition. When you master inner peace, you cease to chase power. Power begins to chase you. Now, understand this truth. Emotion is energy, and energy seeks direction. It is not to be suppressed, but transmuted. The anger that once drove you to foolishness can, through discipline, become the fire that drives you to achievement. The desire that once enslaved you can, through purpose, become the vision that liberates you. The fear that once paralyzed you can, through understanding, become the guardian that keeps you alert and sharp. All emotions contain potential power. The difference between the master and the slave is that the master channels this power, while the slave is consumed by it. To master detachment is to place a filter between stimulus and response. The untrained mind reacts. The disciplined mind reflects. Reaction is mechanical. It belongs to the animal. Reflection is conscious. It belongs to the creator. Between the event and your reaction lies your freedom, and within that freedom lies your destiny. Every man who has ever failed did so because he reacted without reflection. Every man who has ever triumphed did so because he paused, he thought, he chose, he acted deliberately. To be deliberate is to be divine. The Creator himself did not create the universe in haste, but in order, in precision, in peace. You must develop what I call the law of mental neutrality, the ability to observe without being disturbed. Just as a scientist observes his experiment without bias, so must you observe your thoughts, your emotions, and your environment without losing your equilibrium. When insulted, observe. When praised, observe. When rejected, observe. Observation is power, for it transforms emotion into understanding. He who observes controls. He who reacts is controlled. The world is constantly testing your composure. Life will strike you not to destroy you, but to reveal your level of mastery. The stronger your peace, the fewer your enemies. The more disciplined your mind, the more obedient the universe becomes. Consider the calm of a mountain amid the storm. The winds howl, the rain falls, the thunder rolls, but the mountain remains unmoved. It is not that the storm does not touch it, but that it has learned to exist beyond the reach of the storm's influence. So must you learn to be. The man who has mastered inner peace is like that mountain. He stands unshaken by praise or criticism, by gain or loss, by pleasure or pain. His power comes from the fact that nothing external defines his worth. He knows who he is, and therefore no circumstance can dictate what he becomes. But this level of mastery demands price. The price is self-discipline, the willingness to command yourself when no one is watching, to obey your own principles when temptation whispers otherwise. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement, between emotion and wisdom. It is not the chains of a prisoner, it is the key of a king. The undisciplined man is bound by his impulses, but the disciplined man commands them as soldiers under his will. Until you discipline your mind, said Hill, you will have no mind of your own. To discipline thought is to choose the seeds that you plant in the garden of the subconscious. To neglect discipline is to allow weeds of fear and confusion to overtake the garden entirely. When you train your mind, you are no longer living by default, you are living by design. Every morning, your thoughts must be deliberately chosen, your emotions deliberately directed, your intentions clearly defined. Begin the day with purpose, and you will end the day with power. Begin it in chaos, and you will end it in regret. The man who rises early to condition his mind through silence, affirmation, and visualization becomes the architect of his destiny. For as he thinks, so he becomes. The mind, when focused, becomes magnetized. It attracts to itself all that harmonizes with its dominant state. If that state is peace, success will find its way to you effortlessly. But if that state is turmoil, even your victories will taste like defeat. Your thoughts are forces. Your emotions are frequencies, and your will is the transmitter through which they manifest into the material world. The principle of autosuggestion, the method by which thought directs destiny, depends entirely upon emotional control, for autosuggestion is the art of impressing the subconscious with belief. But the subconscious is not impressed by words, it is impressed by emotion, and if your emotions are scattered, contradictory, or uncontrolled, your suggestions will have no creative power. The man who feels deeply but calmly, who believes intensely but without desperation, is the one whose word becomes law. Detachment here does not weaken belief, it purifies it. It removes the anxiety that blocks manifestation. It allows faith to operate freely, for faith is confidence without tension. Think of the mind as a mirror. When it is calm, it reflects reality clearly. When it is disturbed, it distorts the image. The undisciplined mind lives in distortion, seeing threats where there are none, seeing defeat where there is opportunity. To regain accurate thinking, the first requirement is calmness. Calmness restores clarity. Clarity restores power. This is why all great thinkers, inventors, and leaders cultivated serenity. Thomas Edison once said, "I never failed. I only discovered 10,000 ways that didn't work." A man cannot make such a statement unless he has learned to think without being shaken by failure. He sees through the surface appearance into the law behind it. He recognizes that every outcome is neutral until he gives it meaning. And so he remains peaceful not because life is easy, but because he interprets life through principle, not emotion. Peace, then, is not passivity. It is preparation. It is the condition from which intelligent action arises. The man who acts in anger destroys his judgment. The man who acts in panic destroys his opportunity. The man who acts in peace multiplies his effectiveness tenfold. Peace allows you to move with accuracy, with power, with the authority of one who knows what he is doing and why. It sharpens perception, heightens intuition, and aligns you with the law of harmony that governs all success. The truly great are always serene, not because they lack problems, but because they have learned that problems are merely tests of one's composure. Every storm is an invitation to grow in mastery. Every setback is a lesson in stillness. When you respond with peace, you align yourself with the very intelligence that created the universe. The mind that is still becomes the instrument of infinite intelligence. The restless mind, filled with doubt and fear, becomes deaf to guidance. This is why detachment is not coldness. It is communion with something higher than emotion. It is to tune your consciousness to the frequency of truth. And truth, my friend, is always calm. The voice of fear is loud and urgent. The voice of wisdom is quiet and steady. The disciplined man hears that voice, follows it, and succeeds. The undisciplined man drowns it out with noise, reacts impulsively, and suffers. The universe whispers its secrets only to those who are silent enough to listen. Silence, therefore, is not emptiness. It is potential, unshaped, awaiting command. Within every disciplined man, there is a reservoir of silent power that grows with every act of self-control. Each time you resist the impulse to react, you store energy. Each time you restrain your tongue when anger rises, you increase your strength. Each time you detach from needless emotion, you accumulate invisible capital. And when the moment of purpose comes, you can unleash that stored energy with precision, as a laser instead of a wildfire. The undisciplined man exhausts himself in fragments. The disciplined man concentrates himself in purpose. Understand this well. Success does not belong to the brilliant, but to the balanced. The world is filled with talented failures, men of great intellect, undone by their inability to govern their moods. The mind that is brilliant but unstable is like lightning. It dazzles, then destroys. But the mind that is calm is like the sun, steady, enduring, life-giving. Your greatness will never be measured by how high you rise in excitement, but by how steady you remain when excitement fades. The crowd moves by emotion, and therefore the crowd is easy to manipulate. The leader stands above the crowd because he has learned to think when others feel. He does not despise emotion. He directs it. The man who governs emotion governs men, for he governs himself. Observe history. Every empire, every enterprise, every enduring success was built by those who remained calm while others panicked. When fear grips the multitude, the composed man becomes a beacon. He sees opportunity in confusion, advantage in delay, victory in patience. The secret generals of industry, finance, and statesmanship have all possessed this one faculty, the capacity to remain still within when the world convulses without. They are not unfeeling, they are self-commanding. To command self is to command circumstance. You may protest, but how can I be detached in a world of feeling? My answer is that detachment does not deny emotion, it dignifies it. It assigns emotion its rightful place as servant, not sovereign. Anger has its use when harnessed. Desire has its use when directed. Fear has its use when understood. The wise do not banish these forces. They transmute them. The chemist does not curse the elements. He combines them in exact proportion to create gold. The alchemist of the mind does the same with emotion. He combines passion with patience, ambition with serenity, confidence with humility, and from that mixture arises power that cannot be shaken. Let us speak of fear, for fear is the foundation of all emotional weakness. Fear of loss, fear of judgment, fear of failure, these are the chains that bind the human mind. Yet all fear is born of attachment. Attachment to outcome, attachment to approval, attachment to things that can perish. The man who detaches himself from these dependencies cannot be enslaved. You cannot frighten one who needs nothing from you. You cannot control one who controls himself. Thus, emotional detachment is the shield of the free mind. It is the armor of kings and thinkers. It allows a man to stand amid rejection, defeat, and misunderstanding, and remain inwardly unbroken. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief demands focus, and focus demands peace. The disturbed mind cannot believe, because belief is sustained concentration upon a single purpose. That is why faith and discipline are twins. You cannot have one without the other. Faith is the spiritual side of discipline, and discipline is the practical side of faith. Both arise from inner order. The man who has trained his mind to remain calm has prepared it to receive ideas from infinite intelligence, and these ideas come only to those who are ready to act without emotional interference. Infinite intelligence will never reveal its secrets to the mind that is in turmoil, for turmoil drowns out the signal. When you feel anger, observe it. Do not act from it. When you feel fear, study it. Do not flee from it. When you feel doubt, question it. Do not kneel to it. This is the art of self-examination, the supreme art of mental mastery. The untrained man identifies with every passing mood. He says, "I am angry," or "I am afraid." The trained man says, "A thought of anger has arisen within me," or "A vibration of fear is passing through my mind." See the difference? The first man is possessed by emotion, the second possesses it. Detachment is the ability to see the storm without calling it self. The storm will pass. The self remains. Every emotion has a corresponding thought, and every thought produces a result. To change results, you must trace them backward through thought to emotion and master both. When you are calm, you can trace clearly. When you are agitated, you cannot see cause and effect. The wise man, therefore, begins with calmness. He builds a habit of mental stillness as the foundation of his daily life. He meditates, reflects, observes, speaks little, listens deeply. These practices are not superstition, they are technology of the mind. They refine perception and strengthen will. Without such habits, the mind becomes like muddy water. It reflects nothing accurately. In business, in love, in leadership, the calm mind always wins. The calm mind sees reality as it is, while others see only what emotion paints. The calm man negotiates from strength because he is not desperate. He decides clearly because he is not clouded. He waits patiently because he understands the law of timing. Emotion is the enemy of timing, for it urges haste. Detachment is the ally of success, for it waits until the fruit is ripe. The impatient man plucks the fruit too early and calls it failure. The patient man tends the tree until harvest. Thus, emotional discipline is not a denial of action, but a refinement of timing. He who knows when to move and when to wait holds dominion over fortune. Let us examine the principle of thought first, the law that states that all emotion, all behavior, and all circumstance originate in thought. Nothing exists in your life that did not begin as an idea impressed upon the mind. Therefore, if you wish to change your emotions, you must first change your thoughts. The man who feels weak has thought of weakness long enough to feel it. The man who feels peace has thought of peace long enough to become it. This is not mysticism, it is psychology. Thought is the cause, emotion is the effect, and behavior is the consequence. Reverse the order, and you reverse destiny. Instead of being ruled by feeling, rule feeling through thought. Instead of being ruled by circumstance, rule circumstance through mind. But to think clearly, you must remove the fog of bias. Emotion creates bias. Detachment creates accuracy. Accurate thinking, the cornerstone of Napoleon Hill's philosophy, requires neutrality. It requires that you examine facts as they are, not as you wish them to be. The emotional man bends facts to fit desire. The disciplined man bends desire to fit facts. One lives in illusion, the other lives in truth. Truth is not always comfortable, but it is always liberating. To see things as they are is to align with law. And when you are aligned with law, you need not fight for success. Success gravitates toward you by natural attraction. You may recall that Hill taught the power of the master mind. the harmonious coordination of minds united in a common purpose. But harmony is impossible without emotional control. A mind in discord cannot harmonize with others. Thus, the first qualification for leadership is self-possession. Before you can inspire others, you must be unmoved by them. The emotional leader manipulates. The detached leader magnetizes. The first demands loyalty through fear, the second earns it through presence. Men follow the calm leader because he gives them something rarer than excitement. He gives them stability. And stability in a turbulent world is irresistible power. Detachment, then, is not isolation. It is leadership from the center. It is the capacity to enter the marketplace without being of the marketplace, to deal with men without becoming entangled in their moods. The detached man participates fully in life, yet remains inwardly independent of it. He can lose without despair, win without arrogance, love without clinging, act without anxiety. His life flows with rhythm because his mind is anchored in principle. He is like a tree whose roots go deep into the unseen soil of truth. Storms may shake its branches, but the trunk stands firm. That firmness is peace, and peace is power. Understand that mastery over emotion is not achieved in a single day. It is cultivated by daily discipline. Every moment of irritation is an opportunity to practice control. Every temptation to react is a chance to train composure. Each time you pause before responding, you are forging the iron of your character. Character is not built in comfort. It is built in conflict. The wise do not flee from trials. They welcome them as teachers. For every trial conquered in calmness expands your dominion over self. Life, in its secret generosity, will continue to test you until you have proven your readiness for greater command. When you meet those tests with serenity, the gates of destiny open. To live in mastery is to live in continual self-awareness. Do not wait until the storm comes to practice calmness. Cultivate it in small moments, while you wait in line, while you face a delay, while you hear criticism. The universe is always sending you minor inconveniences to train your major strength. The man who conquers the small irritations conquers the great crises. The one who complains about trifles will collapse under trials. Self-command is cumulative. It grows by repetition, like muscle trained through resistance. And the resistance is always life itself asking, will you react or will you rule? Let me tell you a secret known to every master of success. The world obeys the man who has mastered himself because he vibrates authority. Authority is not loud. It is silent conviction. The disciplined man does not need to prove. His composure proves for him. You feel it when he enters the room. The centeredness, the focus, the quiet certainty that he knows where he is going. This is the vibration of power, born from emotional discipline. The scattered man gives off confusion. The controlled man gives off confidence. And men, being creatures of emotion, are unconsciously drawn to those who are calm. Thus, the secret of influence is inner order. This order must be sustained by ritual. Every successful man has a morning routine that trains his mind before the world can disturb it. Some read inspirational words, some meditate, some visualize their aims. The form matters less than the intention, to seize control of consciousness before it is seized by circumstance. Begin your day with inner stillness, and the outer day will conform to your will. Begin it in distraction, and the day will command you. You cannot build an empire if you cannot rule the first hour after waking. The morning is the anvil of destiny. On it you forge the tone of the entire day. Rise with purpose, command your thoughts, direct your emotion, and the universe will fall into formation around you. The will is the highest instrument of man, but it is only as strong as the discipline that sustains it. Will alone is like a sword. Without a steady hand it cuts, but it cannot carve. Discipline steadies the hand. Detachment clears the eye. Purpose gives direction to the strike, and together they shape destiny. Many speak of willpower as though it were a sudden surge of strength, a moment of passion that conquers obstacles. But true will is not a moment, it is a habit. It is the quiet persistence that does not waver when emotion cools. It is the calm, unshakable decision to continue long after the thrill of beginning has faded. The man who depends on inspiration will always be weak. The man who depends on discipline will always prevail. Consider this law. What you do once in emotion, you must be able to repeat in calm. For emotion will desert you when you need it most. The inspired start is easy. The disciplined continuation is rare. Success does not reward the man who burns brightly for a moment, but the one who keeps his fire under control for a lifetime. The flame of enthusiasm ignites. The furnace of discipline sustains. Enthusiasm is the spark of desire. Discipline is the engine of creation. Without discipline, desire decays into regret. With discipline, desire transforms into achievement. The mind that commands emotion commands energy, and energy is the currency of creation. Every human being is born with it, yet most waste it in inner conflict. They fight battles against imagined enemies, resentment, jealousy, guilt, self-doubt. Each thought of resentment drains power. Each indulgence in self-pity bleeds vitality. Each unnecessary argument dissipates force that could have been invested in creation. The disciplined man learns to conserve this energy. He guards his attention as a miser guards gold. He refuses to spend it on what does not serve his purpose. That conservation, over years, becomes an invisible fortune. From that fortune, he funds achievement. This is why emotional detachment is not coldness but economy. It is the refusal to invest energy where no return is possible. The angry man loses control. The detached man converts irritation into observation, observation into understanding, understanding into strategy. He never wastes. He knows that his power lies not in reacting but in directing. Every time he pauses, instead of lashing out, he turns raw impulse into fuel. Every time he endures insult without surrendering peace, he stores strength. He may appear calm, even indifferent, but within him the alchemy of transmutation is at work, turning chaos into clarity, noise into music, opposition into momentum. This transmutation is the very essence of genius. All great men, when examined closely, were masters of inner conversion. They took pain and made it vision. They took failure and made it fuel. They took rejection and made it solitude for thought. Nothing external destroyed them, because they never gave the outer world authority over their inner one. They had mastered the art of using everything, even defeat, for their advancement. The same fire that burns the weak tempers the strong. The difference is not in the fire, but in the man. The one resists, the other directs. To direct is to rule. In your own life, look upon every disturbance as raw material for mastery. When someone offends you, you are being handed the opportunity to practice self-command. When circumstances frustrate you, you are invited to build patience. When fear arises, you are given a lesson in faith. Each event is an instrument in the orchestra of your development, and emotional detachment allows you to conduct it. Without detachment, you are one instrument among many, producing noise. With it, you are the conductor. Every note serves your symphony. Life then becomes a deliberate composition rather than a random performance. Let us speak of definiteness of purpose, the first principle of all achievement. Detachment without direction becomes drift. Discipline without aim becomes repression. You must know precisely what you want and why. The mind that lacks a definite goal will waste its power controlling emotion for no reason at all. The discipline of detachment must be tied to vision of purpose so clear that every emotion can be judged by one question. Does this serve my aim? If it does, use it. If it does not, release it. This simple law ends confusion. The man of purpose no longer struggles with endless decisions. His purpose decides for him. The weak man asks, how do I feel about this? The strong man asks, does this move me closer to my aim? One is ruled by emotion, the other by principle. Definiteness of purpose requires solitude, for the noise of the world drowns the inner voice. You must separate yourself from the crowd long enough to hear your own thought. Most men live as echoes. They think what others think, feel what others feel, chase what others chase. They have no individuality because they have no silence. Detachment creates that silence. It allows you to step back, to observe the current of public opinion without being swept by it. The crowd always reacts. The leader always reflects. When you can remain inwardly still amid mass emotion, you rise above it. You become a law unto yourself. But purpose alone is not enough. It must be sustained by faith and persistence, and both are born in peace. The man who panics at obstacles loses faith. The man who grows impatient loses persistence. Faith requires calmness because fear cannot enter a quiet mind. Persistence requires detachment because impatience cannot dwell in a peaceful heart. Thus, even your ambition must be tranquil, not the restless craving of the desperate, but the serene confidence of the destined. The calm man does not rush. He advances. He does not chase. He attracts. His progress is steady because it is inwardly certain. The world feels that certainty and yields to it. Now hear this truth. Control of emotion begins with control of attention. Whatever holds your attention holds your life. The emotional man allows the outer world to seize his focus. Every distraction, every rumor, every criticism steals a fragment of his will. The disciplined man takes his attention back, minute by minute, hour by hour. He decides what to think, what to feel, what to imagine. He knows that attention is the steering wheel of destiny. Direct it, and life obeys. Neglect it, and life drives you into chaos. To master attention, you must develop concentration, and concentration thrives only in peace. The restless mind cannot focus. The scattered mind cannot achieve. Therefore, inner stillness is not luxury, it is survival. How do you train attention? Through practice, repetition, and restraint. When the mind wanders, bring it back gently but firmly, as a trainer brings a horse to discipline. When emotion rises, observe it instead of feeding it. When you wish to react, pause. Each act of returning strengthens your will. Soon, thoughts obey you as soldiers obey a general. At first they will resist, for your mind has been undisciplined for years, but persistence tames it. In time, you will find that emotion arises like a wave, but your awareness remains as the ocean itself, vast, still, unshaken. Let us call this the law of inner sovereignty, that no external power can disturb the man who refuses to internalize it. Circumstances may touch your body, but they cannot touch your mind without permission. Words may reach your ears, but they cannot wound your soul unless you open the gate. You are sovereign over the kingdom of your own consciousness. Guard it as sacred ground. When the enemy of fear approaches, close the gate. When the voice of doubt whispers, silence it with truth. When the storm of anger beats against the walls, remain within the fortress of composure. From that fortress, you may act, not react, and every action will carry the weight of your authority. This authority radiates outward. People trust the calm man because he does not need to prove himself. They respect him because he does not beg for respect. They follow him because his inner order imposes order upon them. In business, in family, in creation, in every domain, the same law applies. The one who keeps his head when others lose theirs becomes the axis around which events revolve. This is not arrogance, it is natural law. Balance attracts imbalance, seeking stability. The more chaotic the world becomes, the greater the demand for the man of peace. Yet beware, the world will test your peace precisely because it senses your strength. When you begin to master detachment, new challenges will arise, as if life itself were asking, "Have you truly learned?" Friends may misunderstand you. Society may mock your composure. Those driven by emotion may call you cold. Do not be deceived. The price of mastery is misunderstanding. To be calm in a world of noise is to stand apart. But stand you must, for greatness is always lonely at the summit. Accept solitude as your crown. Detachment will sometimes feel like exile, but it is the exile of kings who cannot live among slaves of passion. Endure it with dignity, and soon even your solitude will radiate strength. Remember, emotional detachment does not end love, it purifies it. It allows you to love without needing, to give without losing, to serve without slavery. The detached man loves as the sun shines freely without demand, without fear. His affection is not a bargain, it is abundance. Because he depends on nothing external for peace, his love is safe for others to trust. This is why inner mastery is not selfishness but service. The calmer you are, the more you uplift those around you. The disciplined mind becomes a sanctuary in a world of noise. In your peace, others find their reflection. In your order, others rediscover their own. And so, my friend, as you advance upon this path of inner sovereignty, you will begin to notice a quiet transformation taking place within you. You will no longer seek to conquer others, but only to conquer self. You will cease to be driven by reaction and begin to move by design. Your thoughts will sharpen into instruments, your emotions will become your allies, and your life will take on the steady rhythm of mastery. The world around you will still swirl in chaos, but you will see clearly that chaos is only a test of order. You will understand that no man is defeated by circumstance. He is defeated only when he yields his mind to it. When you master your inner world, outer success becomes the natural consequence. The man who does not react wastefully moves with precision. He does not expend his energy in defense of ego, in pursuit of praise, or in indulgence of anger. His power is concentrated and therefore creative. Every decision becomes purposeful. Every gesture carries weight. His very presence commands attention because he is no longer divided within himself. He is one mind, one will, one direction. This unity is what all great souls share. It is the harmony between thought, emotion, and action that creates greatness. The undisciplined man wants to be many things at once. The disciplined man becomes one thing completely, and that completeness makes him unstoppable. You must understand that peace is not the reward of success, it is the condition for it. The mind in turmoil cannot think accurately, cannot decide wisely, cannot persist patiently. But the mind that is calm becomes the perfect instrument of infinite intelligence. Ideas flow to it as rivers flow to the sea. Inspiration, intuition, and timing, these are the natural gifts of a mind that has learned stillness. When you are calm, you are receptive. When you are receptive, you are guided. And when you are guided, you become effective beyond calculation. Those who seem lucky are simply those who have learned to listen to the silent voice of reason within. That voice is drowned by noise, but revealed in peace. Every act of greatness has begun in silence. The builder stood alone with his blueprints. The inventor stared for hours at a single formula. The leader withdrew before the war to commune with vision. Every external triumph is the echo of an internal command. Therefore, before you seek to influence the world, learn to rule the silence of your own thoughts. There, in that unseen chamber, destiny is decided. There, amid stillness, infinite power awaits your direction. Now let us speak of the final principle, the law of response. The highest form of self-mastery is the ability to respond rather than react. Reaction is instinct. Response is intelligence. Reaction belongs to the past, it is repetition. Response belongs to the present, it is creation. When you react, you relive an old pattern. When you respond, you create a new possibility. Detachment grants you that pause, that sacred space between impulse and action, where freedom is born. In that space, you can choose to think instead of assume, to breathe instead of lash out, to observe instead of obey emotion. That single moment of awareness separates the ordinary man from the master. Do not mistake peace for weakness. The calm man is not passive, he is deliberate. He moves when movement matters. His composure is not lack of feeling, it is control of force. The lion that rests in the sun is not harmless, he is patient. His calmness is confidence. He does not need to roar to prove power. So it is with the man who has mastered inner peace. He has nothing to prove, no one to impress, and nothing to fear. The noise of others no longer commands his attention. He knows that life cannot threaten what is self-controlled, nor can fate harm what is inwardly free. The greatest secret of success is that control is happiness. Not the control of others, but the control of self. The uncontrolled mind is the only hell. The disciplined mind is the only heaven. The same mind can create both. Your environment is only the reflection of your internal state. The chaos you perceive outside is but the projection of what remains unresolved within. Therefore, do not seek to calm the world, calm yourself. Do not wish for easier conditions, develop greater control. Then you will find that even in adversity there is peace. Even in conflict there is understanding. Even in loss there is growth. For no situation can overpower the man who has mastered his interpretation of it. And when you have reached this point, when emotion serves reason, when discipline governs desire, when peace commands power, you will discover the ultimate freedom. Nothing can shake you. Praise cannot inflate you, criticism cannot deflate you, success cannot corrupt you, failure cannot defeat you. You will act with conviction and rest without anxiety. You will walk among men but belong to eternity. You will no longer chase happiness. It will accompany you as the shadow follows light. For you will have realized that heaven was never a place, but a state of mind achieved through mastery of thought. The laws that govern greatness are not complex. They are simple, eternal, unchanging. Control your thoughts, and you control your emotions. Control your emotions, and you control your actions. Control your actions, and you control your destiny. The undisciplined blame, the disciplined create, the weak wait, the strong initiate, the fearful avoid, the courageous confront. Every step toward mastery begins with a single declaration: I am the ruler of my own mind. Speak it with conviction until it becomes identity, and you will find that the outer world begins to bow to that truth. The mind commands, the world obeys. Remember this: the man who governs himself can be trusted with power, wealth, and influence, for he will not be enslaved by them. He can lead because he is not led by vanity. He can win because he is not broken by loss. He can serve because he is not dependent on approval. His composure becomes contagious. His example becomes law. This is why the world follows the one who is calm. The crowd may not understand him, but it feels his force. The same silence that centers him becomes the authority that others sense but cannot define. That silence is mastery. That silence is peace. And that peace is power. Therefore, begin today, not tomorrow. Not when conditions are perfect, but now. Begin with the small acts of self-control: a word withheld, a breath taken, a thought redirected. Begin by refusing to surrender your mood to external forces. Begin by claiming dominion over your attention. Each small act of control is a declaration to the universe that you are ready for greater command. The discipline you build in silence will one day speak for you in thunder. The calm you cultivate in private will one day become your unshakable armor in public. Begin with one victory of mind over impulse, and soon you will look back to see a kingdom built upon that foundation. In the final analysis, success is not about money, fame, or status. It is about mastery. To master the world, master yourself. To master yourself, master your thoughts. To master your thoughts, master your emotions. To master your emotions, practice detachment. Detachment is not distance, it is dominion. It is the quiet realization that nothing external defines your worth. It is the serene confidence that you are complete, capable, and free. Once you reach that realization, life ceases to be a struggle and becomes an expression. Work becomes worship, achievement becomes harmony, and peace becomes your natural state. And so I say to you, with the full conviction of eternal truth, nothing can shake you when you master inner peace. Let the storms come, they will only prove your strength. Let the critics speak, they will only echo into silence. Let the world change, it will only reveal your permanence. For the man who rules his mind is greater than the one who conquers nations, richer than the one who owns empires, and freer than the one who breaks chains. Stand, therefore, as master of yourself. Be calm when others rage. Be patient when others panic. Be wise when others react. And in that composure, you will find what every soul secretly seeks: freedom, power, and peace that nothing in this world can ever take away.